Talking about manifesting to somebody who probably has seen it in documentaries like The Secret can bring about some interesting looks. Trying to explain it to somebody for the first time may even draw speculations you are crazy. Sometimes you might be wondering if this is all even true or just a way to repackage positive thinking. Well, it turns out there are many scientific evidence that explains how manifesting actually works. Let's get into it. Namaste, Sacred Masters. I'm Dr. Iwas Ukehi, Certified Shadowwork NLP Manifestation Coach, and today I want to talk to you about the science behind manifesting. You see, a lot of us are brought up in a rigid world where we want to see facts, looked at through the lens of real science before we believe in anything. Well, that's what we will explore. Different ways science has actually studied and shown how the art of manifesting works. First of all, the basic idea of manifesting is that our thoughts create our reality. But can it really? Turns out, this idea of manifesting has created a science branch known as quantum mechanics. In fact, scientists like Albert Einstein studied quantum theory, which is basically studying energy and matter at a subatomic level. Over the years, separate studies have also shown that the art of thought creating reality is not only real, but why it's real. And let's take a look at some of them. The granddaddy of all experiments is the double slit experiment. What the double slit experiment is when scientists fires electrons through two slits to see what pattern it makes when it passes through the slit. Now you would imagine that you would see two straight lines on the other side of the wall, and that is correct. Now when scientists observed the results, they got exactly what they expected. But then, when the experiment was conducted without anyone in the room, pattern begins to change into one such as you would see in a wave, like liquid. When the scientists came back, they were baffled. Each time they observed it, the electrons behaved in a way they expected, but each time they were out of the room, it behaved differently. When the scientists decided to put a camera and leave the room, the electrodes went back to behaving the exact same way that was expected, as though the electrons was aware was being observed. This experiment has been recreated many times since it was first discovered in 1927, and all of them had the same results. One thing we can conclude is that just by our act of observing, we can change the behavior of electrons. Imagine if we use this observation on ourselves, like in meditation, we could affect not only our internal world, but our external world as well. Another scientific explanation for manifesting dives into the most common question of all. How does our brain do it? Turns out science does have an answer for it. It is a region of our brainstem which is a literal bundle of nerves known as the Recticular Activating System, otherwise known as RAS. The RAS is the reason why when you hear a tune or learn a new word, you start hearing it everywhere. It's why in a crowd of people at a party you can tune everybody out and just focus on talking with someone. But yet when someone in the crowd calls your name, you immediately snap into attention. This is what the RAS does. It takes the millions of things your subconscious has processed and only gives you the important ones to the conscious mind, so it would not be overwhelmed by sensory and information overload. Hence, you can say that the RAS gives you information based upon your set of beliefs from your conscious mind. Now, changing belief means new information is going to come to you that your subconscious will start feeding you. How to be rich, how to meet the person of your dreams. Your limiting belief is what causes the RAS to withhold important information that's functional for you to manifest your desires. But if your desires do not match your beliefs, for example, it could be I don't like money, You may be missing out on a lot of information and opportunities because your subconscious is behaving based upon your beliefs. See how I'm starting to talk just like how the people in The Secret has? Except they did not tell you about the reticular activating system, which would have just made all your theories completely scientific instead of New Age thinking. But it's not what you're thinking, it's also what you're doing. Science has also discovered another phenomenon known as mirror neuron. A mirror neuron is a neuron that fires both when you act and when you observe that same action performed by another person. That's why it's called mirror, because it mirrors the behavior of another. Now, we've already been utilizing these mirror neurons. It's the same way you can develop an accent by living in another country. We constantly reflect body language, facial expressions, and emotions of people we talk to. How many times have you felt a low energy vibration because someone else walked into the room with that same energy? You know, those vibe killers at parties? Mirror neurons are essential parts of our social life. We utilize it for child development when we mirror our parents. Mirror neurons are key to our learning process. Thus, when we act, the brains of others will fire in a similar way. When we act with the right energy, our world begins to form to match up with those energies, mirroring us. When manifesting coaches tell you to ignore your bad situation and act as though your desires have been fulfilled already, should really explain mirror neurons. Going into it with blind faith can be dangerous as well. But once you know how it works, how you can change your beliefs, you can begin to use that knowledge to make your manifestations work. Simply pretending like everything is fine won't help. I'm sure many of you who have experienced this before question whether manifestation does work at all. It does work. And when you understand how mirror neurons work, then it all begins to make sense. Ultimately, it's your energy level and beliefs that must be combined, and mirror neurons explain why and how. But not all things can be explained, but can be clearly illustrated, such as an experiment done by Dr. Masaru Emoto. Well, several experiments actually. He did his famous water experiments in Japan, Europe, and in the US. What he did was place water in controlled environments, and on each water he placed words written next to it. They were love, gratitude, you disgust me, eternal, peace, evil, and thank you. And when he crystallized the water and examined it under a microscope, he found that their physical molecular formations had transformed. Take a look at some of these images. But his experiments did not end there. Here is a water crystal at the Fujiwara Dam. And now look at what happened after Reverend Kadohoki, the chief priest of the Juhon Temple, offered an hour-long prayer to it. It's amazing when we know that our bodies are more than 70% water, so we can clearly tell how words do affect us. Simple prayer and meditation can really cleanse and bless us. So the next time you're around a toxic person, you might want to think twice about your relationship with such person. Words can abuse our inner self as well. And that goes the same to your mental diet. What you tell yourself in your heart can affect the makeup of your entire body. Sometimes things can be observed but cannot be explained. Even famous scientist Albert Einstein observed a phenomenon that he called spooky action at a distance. This phenomena is recorded in a 1935 paper by him, Boris Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen, and is known as quantum entanglement. This is where a pair or group of particles is generated. It has been observed that when one particle was manipulated in a way, the other particle will respond in the same way, even if they are halfway around the world. Like the double slit experiment shows, it's almost as though the other particle knows it is being observed. What this can help you be aware is that you're manifesting, your thoughts, don't know any distance or time the way your normal senses do. So manifesting that specific person, who may be halfway across the globe, doesn't seem so far-fetched of an idea as quantum entanglement shows. Subatomic particles influence one another despite distance or time, regardless of separation. You can see this happen in twin telepathy, where twins, even when separated at birth, can still have an intense sense or connection. They can go to the extent of feeling pain when a co-twin is hurting. This phenomena can also be observed between two non-twins, such as a husband and wife married for many years. So there you have it. Scientific observations and proof that the universe is indeed working based upon our manifesting desires. I hope this video clears up any question you have on how manifesting works and gives you more faith that this is not some new age thinking of belief that sounds like magic, when every moment science is discovering more and more ways to explain how our human body, mind, and soul works. If you are a fact-based person, this might help you get an idea that just because we don't know everything just yet, we know enough through science to explain how it all works. As much as I like to believe in magic, I also like to believe in science. I am a doctor after all. And with this, I hope you have a bigger sense of your purpose as a manifester, so you're not walking out in blind faith. If you know of other scientific studies done on manifesting, comment below to share it with the community. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell button if you enjoyed this video, so I know what kind of content you would like me to do. Even though I am focused in shadow works, I will post about other stuff that relates to it. Because in the end, we do shadow work to help us in our abilities to manifest the life we deserve, which is our end game after all. Namaste.